Assalamualaikum, brothers and sisters.
Waalaikumsalam, sir.
Okay, good. Everybody in. Okay, let's start our day with the recitation of Kitab Al-Fatihah. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Arrahmanirrahim. Maliki yaumiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Okay, let's have a dua. Recitation of dua by Ustaz Haziq Ruslan. Tafadhal Ustaz.
Amin, amin, amin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Assalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma alhimna ilman na'rifu bihi awmiraka wa na'rifu bihi nawahiyaka warzuqna. Allahumma balaghata fahm النبيين وفصاحة حفظ المرسلين وسرعة إلهام الملائكة المقربين وأكرمنا اللهم بنور العلم وسرعة الفهم واخرجنا من ظلمات الوهم وافتح لنا أبواب رحمتك وعلمنا إسرار حكمتك يا رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Ya Rabbal Alamin. Shukran Ustaz. Okay, today we have a topic, decision making from Islamic perspective. I think you are more expert on this one. You have done in-depth study of decision making from Islamic perspective. Okay, decision making from Islamic perspective. Allah says in the Quran, Surah Ad-Dariyat, A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wa ma khalaqatul jinna wal insa illa liya'budun. I created the jinn and humankind only that they might worship me. So what does it mean? So all of us, our behavior, our deeds, our intentions, whatever we do are directed to serve Allah. In this case, there is another verse which we recite always in our salah. Qul inna salati wa nusuki wa mahyaya wa mamati lillahi rabbil alamin. La sharika lak. وَبِذَلِكَ أُمِرْتُ وَأَنَا أَوَّلُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ.
I'm sorry, sir, but I think it should be La Sharikalah. I heard Kalah just now.
Oh, I pronounce, maybe you didn't say.
Okay.
Okay, I recite again. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qul inna salati wa nusuki wa mahyaya wa mamati lillahi rabbil alamin. La sharika lah. Wa bidzalika umirtu wa ana awwalul muslimin. Shukran, brother, for correcting me. Say, lo, my worship and my sacrifice and my living and my dying are for Allah, Lord of the worlds. He has no partner. This I am commanded, and I am first of those who surrender. That means who become Muslim. Now, in Islam, all our activity, our act as a Muslim can be considered as ibadah, as long as it comply with the following conditions. What we do is always halal. The act is lawful, and then we try to do things efficiently. And whatever we do, we always seek the pleasure of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. In short, our missions in our life is to acquire the pleasure of Allah, and then to fulfill these missions, whatever we are doing can be considered as ibadah. Then we need to carry out our daily activities according to Islamic foundation, Islamic rulings, following the commandments of Allah and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Muslims generally seek guidelines from Islamic revealed knowledge, the knowledge revealed by Allah, who is perfect, omniscient, who knows the past, present, and the future. The knowledge revealed by Allah is considered as infallible. That means everything is perfect. If we carry out our daily activities according to this revealed knowledge, then surely we will succeed in the world and in the hereafter. Of course, we Muslim are seeking the pleasure in this world as well as in the akhirah. Now, in decision making, the traditional, what we call it secular, because now we are being brainwashed into the concept of secular models and Islamic models. The traditional secular models of problem solving and decision making are transient and myopic, very short-sighted, since they are based on the values of human founders, or their founders in this decision-making problem. These models generally propose a system of ethics developed by themselves and devoid of religion. I mean, the values of ethics is based on what human beings see and not according to this Islamic guidelines. The models or guidelines derived from revealed knowledge lead us to the right solutions. The 5 steps of decision making define the problem. There is a verse in Surah An-Najm, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. وَمَا لَهُمْ بِهِ مِنْ إِلْمٍ إِنْ يَتَّبِعُونَ إِلَّا الظَّنَّ وَإِنَّ الظَّنَّ لَا يُغْنِي مِنَ الْحَقِّ شَيْئًا. But they have no knowledge therein. They follow nothing but conjecture, and conjecture avails nothing against the truth. So it is recommended that when we want to solve problem, we list down the statement or the objective of the problem, writing everything pertaining to the problem is a good habit. We develop this good habit. In the yesteryears, we can write this in the pad. Now we can log in our computer system so that we can list down what we want to do. Then identify the alternative. In organizational contact brainstorming or your personal life. So let's say into your personal life, you are planning to move house. There are certain options you can do. When, as soon as you get a better house, then you move. Or say you want to wait until your son grow up. If you are married, then start going to school. Or when you have to change your job. Or you cannot live any longer in the present house for a certain reason. Or if you are renting, the landlord may be not cooperating with you. It's personal context. If we look into organizational context, let's say we introduce new product. So what are we looking at? What are the target segments of the market? Let's say these are various alternatives, segment 1, segment 2, segment 3. Let's say segment 1, we are looking whether we want to cater for the niche market, mass market, or certain group of the society. Then how would the product benefit the society? Will it benefit the whole masses or certain group of society? These are the various options to consider. Then pricing options. Whether if you are catering for certain niche market, the pricing option may be limited or affordable to certain group of people, or mass market, that means the pricing options must be affordable to many people. Then what level of profitability that your organization can accept? How many percent of profitability? Are you prepared for only 8% profitability, 15% after taking into consideration of possible risks? And then you are looking into how much you want to allocate for certain infaq, charity, maybe 10%, 5%, or how are you going to do this? Whether you want to do infaq every Ramadan or make it as a regular basis. So this is also various options, simple example of options to look at. And then they identify criteria. The criteria in your decision making. This one, there's an example here. The criteria for choice of the General Secretary of an Islamic association, the qualifications. Of course, we should mention what is the qualifications, maybe degree or Islamic study or whatever. Steadfast in prayers, and then the righteousness, means must be pious. Then how does this person ability to contribute to society, and whether the person is easy to approach, easily approachable, friendliness. Then how about the wealth of knowledge or experience he has? Then the most important is the charisma and the ability to lead the society. And this is an example of criteria, because very common. Another thing, in a commercial environment, we look into integrity. What is integrity? That means must be ethical. Whatever decision you make should comply with Islamic rulings, as well as the governing rule of law. Benefit to users. How does this benefit users? The criteria must be looked into. If you introduce product, must benefit to users and to society and safe to use. Another criteria, you want to look at affordability of your products or services. And then how does this contribute to the quality of life of the ummah, or we call it mankind? If you look from the Western perspective, they say quality improvement or the quality of life of mankind. But for us, we use the word ummah. Next one is sustainability, or sustainable. All these criteria, if we produce something, must be sustainable. That means it doesn't destroy the environment and can be used for a long period of time, sustainable. And then develop this based on past experience. Maybe you have previous models, you improve from the previous model, you innovate from the previous things. That means these are some of the criteria you are developing something. And then the criteria is your product must be able to capture certain market share. I don't mean to teach marketing here. This is an example of developing criteria in our decision making. Then evaluate the options. I think we did in our first class, evaluating options. One if you are looking at anything, just one alternative does not excel with respect to all the criteria. We are limited, our outlook, our thinking is limited. So we need to find out relative way of all the alternative with respect to all the criteria on the individual basis. So after synthesizing all the weights, we use scientific approach, we can obtain all the you can obtain the overall weight. It means you use some weightage of all the alternative. And then we can evaluate all this using the methods that we have been learning. Then to evaluate the alternative, we make sure that we have equipped ourselves with complete information about the alternative. Okay, this is another advice. Be careful about the source of informations. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya ayyuhalladzina amanu in ja'akum fasikum binaba'i fatabayyanu an tusibu قوما بجهالة فتصبحوا على ما فعلتم نادمين. O you who believe, if a wicked person comes to you with a report, verify it, lest you harm the people in ignorance and are consequently filled with regret over what you have done. In this Surah Al-Hujarat, ayat 6. This is during the Prophet's time, but some of the point here, we try to verify source of information. Like of late, we receive a lot of fake news here and there. Some information are not sincere. We have to verify the source of information and establish the bona fide, whether it's bona fide information or not. Then select the best alternative and implement the decisions. I read all the ayat from Surah Al-Imran, ayat 159. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَظًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ فاعف عنهم واستغفر لهم وشاورهم في الأمر فإذا عزمت فتوكل على الله إن الله يحب المتوكلين. Actually, we are interested at the last two subline. فإذا عزمت فتوكل على الله Inna Allah yuhibbul mutawakkilin. Then, when you have made a decision, put your trust in Allah. Lo, Allah loves those who put their trust in Him. Al-Imran, ayat 159. And then, decision through mutual consultations. This is very common. All of us are doing it. Decision-making problem, as stated above, range from simple to very complex decision-making. So in Islam, it emphasizes decision-making through shura or mutual consultations. I read this ayat, An-Nahl, ayat 43. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِنْ قَبْلِكَ إِلَّا رِجَالًا نُوحِي إِلَيْهِمْ فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِنْ كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. The part we are looking at is فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِنْ كُنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. Then ask the learned if you do not know. That means we have to ask the ahli, that means the expert. Fas'alu the ahlal, that means the expert. Another ayat here. فَمَا أوتيتم من شيء فمتاع الحياة الدنيا وما عند الله خير وأبقى للذين آمنوا وعلى ربهم يتوكلون والذين يجتنبون كبائر الإثم والفواحش وإذا ما غضبوا هم يغفرون والذين استجابوا لربهم وأقاموا الصلاة وأمرهم شورى بينهم ومما رزقناهم ينفقون. So the emphasis here is وأمرهم شورى. We administer our daily affair with shura bainahum, between you all. Wa amruhum shura bainahum wa mimma razaqnahum yunfiqun. Yeah. Now whatever ye have been given, is that a passing comfort for the life of the world, and that which Allah has is better and more lasting for those who believe and put their trust in their Lord, and those who answer the call of their Lord and establish worship, and who conduct their affairs by mutual consultations, and who spend of what we have bestowed on them. Ashura 36 to 38. And when Allah wanted to create humankind, all of us, He said in the Quran, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً قَالُوا أَتَجْعَلُ فِيهَا مَنْ يُفْسِدُ فِيهَا وَيَسْفِكُ الدِّمَاءَ وَنَحْنُ نُسَبِّحُ بِحَمْدِكَ وَنُقَدِّسُ لَكَ قال إني أعلم ما تعلمون. And when your Lord said unto the angels, Lo, I am about to place a viceroy in the earth, they said, Wilt thou place therein one who will do harm therein and will shed blood, while we hymn thee with praise and sanctify thee? Allah said, Surely I know that which you know not. This is Surah Al-Baqarah. Decisions making by Muslim manager must be just. The administrator who has to uphold justice in dealing with everything, including the task of decision making. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كونوا قوامين بالقسط شهداء لله ولو على أنفسكم أو الوالدين والأقربين إن يكن غنيا أو فقيرا فالله أولى بهما فلا تتبعوا الهوى أن تعدلوا وإن تلووا أو تعرضوا فإن الله كان بما تعملون خبيرا. So it means, O you who believe, by ye staunch in justice. I mean, we have to uphold justice, witness for Allah, even though it be against yourself or your parents or your kindred, whether to mute you all. Why I cannot mute?
Adikku dah kat tangga kan dek?
I cannot.
If her mic is
Ambil nyapu di sapu.
I cannot control.
Tak suruh.
Who is this? I cannot track this person. Okay, I go on. I repeat, O you who believe, be staunch in justice, witness for Allah, even though it be against yourself or your parents or your kindred, that means our relative, whether the case be of a rich man or a poor man, for Allah is nearer unto both than you are. So follow not passions, lest ye lapse from justice, and if ye lapse or fall away, then lo, Allah is ever informed of what you do. An-Nisa ayat 135. There is another verse which we always hear this in Friday prayers. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Inna Allah ya'muru bil adli wal ihsani wa ita'i dhil qurba wa yanha 'anil fahsya'i wal munkari wal baghi. Ya'idhukum la'allakum tadhakkarun. Lo, Allah enjoins justice and kindness and giving to kinsfolk, and forbids lewdness and abominations and wickedness. He exhorts you in order that you may take heed. An-Nahl ayat 90. This is another hadith reported by Imam Ibn Ahmad. Rasulullah said, if Fatima, the daughter of Prophet Muhammad steals, I will certainly cut her hand. That means this is what holding justice is about. I mean, regardless whether it's family members or not family members. So this is an indication how important is justice. Justice is Allah's attribute. We should stand firm in the favor of justice, even if it goes against our own interests or to the interests of those who are near or dear to us. So be just without fear or favor. Decision making by Shura. Shura is the process for an exchange of views or mutual consultation designed to lead a mature, thoughtful, and sound decision. If we look back when we start introducing the concept of decision science, they have different people in the team in order to develop this operation research during the war time. So they are doing Shura already. So Islamic jurists and scholars unanimously agree that Shura is not an innovation of man, but it is a legitimate practice that has its basis in the Quran that we recited before and has been passed on to us as Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, as well as that of the Khalifah or Khulafa al-Rashidin. And Abu Hurairah said, I have never seen anyone who seeks consultation of his companions more than the Prophet. I think you hear this. You have been reading during certain battles. Even Rasulullah listened to teenagers, the young people. He listens, and then he adopts the idea. If your leaders are virtuous, your rich people are generous, and your affairs are settled through shura, the surface of the earth is better for you than the bottom. That means your life are worth living. This is also hadith by Rasulullah SAW. Our Prophet SAW also said, whoever resolves matter through shura will always be successful, and whoever abandons shura will be at a loss. Umar ibn al-Khattab radhiyallahu anhu did not take any major decision without consulting his people. So Umar used to consult his people in the appointments of governors or army commanders, and also the key people in his government. Decision making by shura at the time of the Khalifah, consultation was used in the day-to-day administrations of the countries, expending resources and setting of goals, formulating policies, and of approaching the goals, and organizing the efforts and activities. So the tradition of consultation has been carried on from Rasulullah time to the Khalifah time. And there's a saying, single opinion is like a string of thread, whereas multiple opinions is like a strong rope made up of those strings. While consulting others, you should not influence them to be in agreement with you. That means you have to be neutral in making your consultation, not imposing your value to them. In that, if you impose on them, then the shura is meaningless, becomes superfluous. Your shura comprise people belonging to different groups, then you have to ensure that you listen to every one of them, every groups, and then how to do balancing, because they have different opinions, and these opinions may be congruent or may be in conflict. So if you have something conflicting opinion, you have to do some balancing work. Even in organizations, sometimes you are team leader, you do consultations, your team member may have different opinion, and this is quite challenging to do some balancing work. While shura is important, but you don't listen to any of them, they may not give their opinion. If they don't give opinion, they become yes men, and it's not good for the organizations. Decision-making consultant Alison Hardingham said, well, he is in favor of consulting others. If you choose to make them alone, or you make decision alone, you lose wealth of information and experience to be found in the people around you. You lose one of the resources uniquely available to us as human beings, the knowledge of our fellow human beings. So benefit of shura, views from different perspectives are surfaced, that means everybody raise it up, which can cover the entire area of considerations. If you are sincere, those consulted are likely to be supportive in implementing the decisions. And then if we as a leader, we may have some shortcomings, and these shortcomings are made up by shura. That means if we overlook something through consultations, your team member can highlight this, and then we will fill up the gap to remediate our weakness. So through shura, the chance of identifying the best solution is more compared to making decision alone, compared to making individual decisions. Benefits of shura again, it will lead to just and also wise decision. I mean, we make us more wise, and then we make wisdom. I mean, wisdom decision or wise decisions. And then it also give opportunity At least we value other people, provide opportunity for others to express their opinions, and then facilitate cooperations. We develop the teamwork and mutual responsibility. Everybody take up the ownership of the problem in hand, and through this, it will strengthen the ukhuwah amongst Muslims. And then indirectly, it saves leader from abominations that generates from autocracies, such as to impose opinion that may not be wise or lack comprehensiveness. And then the best thing is encourage teamwork. We are working in a team. We cannot work alone in real life. Then whom to consult? Just now we say we have to consult the expert, ahli. I mean, so we should be, the person you consult should be competent enough to help you. I mean, expert in their respective field, relevant to what you want to discuss. And then you should know, I mean, this person should know you well, and you know that he is trustworthy and he is impartial, and you have mutual trust between him and you. And the person also known for their sincerity to support or to contribute to your decision-making process. So this is the key thing to consult. Sometimes you also look into opponent opinions also, and they may give you some critical comment, and this could be good for you. Remember the following questions. Has the consultant anything to gain or lose? If you consult anybody, does he have anything to gain or to lose if I decide one way or the other? That means things to gain or lose include monetary reward or certain influence, then his reputations, all this, whether if we say we do not incorporate this person view, whether it will make him look bad or not. So we have to look into this carefully. And then the person you consult, does the consultant have strong political or religious or other views which might influence him from background? That means whether he is under other influence that may affect his view to you. So is the consultant under the influence of anyone with something to gain or to lose from your decisions? So this is something very complex. It's not very straightforward to identify this person, and you will gain this through experience, whether the person really sincere to help you or they may not be supportive to you. Other guideline, then we have to do istikhara. This one, you know about istikhara. When you are encountering uncertainty, we have to do some istikhara, and then take a long-term view, and take majority view, and then learn from past mistake. This is something very like take majority view. Not everything we have to take majority view. We have to weigh really the situation. Sometimes certain situation we cannot take majority view. We have to look into the problem as a leader. Sometimes we have to be very, very concerned rather than by majority. We have to analyze from another perspective. Because as a leader, you are the team leader, you know the problem better than those around you. Then avoid acting in hurry. So this one, there's a narration here. Abdul Rahman bin Bishr al-Ansari al-Azraq said, 2 men from the locality of Kindah came while Abu Mas'ud al-Ansari was sitting in a circle. They said, is there any man who decides between us I'm not sure about the background. Maybe they are fighting or they have something to decide. A man from the circle said, I. And then Abu Mas'ud took a handful of pebbles and threw at him, saying, Hush, it is disapproved to be hasty in decision making. So we shouldn't hurry in decision making. Weigh the pros and cons. So list down the pros and cons before making a course of action and decisions. Assign weight to each pros and cons and rank them in terms of priorities or importance. This is from any normal decision making. Also, we do this. And how do we rank them? If there are too many opinions, we have to really remove those petty opinions, petty view, and then just select not so many items. Maybe out of 100, maybe just select the first 20. We were using another, what we call it, Pareto analysis, 20-80 rules. You do analysis, you take the 20. If you solve the 20, you will solve the other 80. So evaluate the pros and cons and give due consideration when making final decision. Then to conclude, so decision making is intimately affecting all aspects of our life. So we need to be sure that all decisions made are right and sustainable. And then we always, as a Muslim, we seek divine guidance in all our decision making. Of course, the objective is to make sound and wise decisions. So how to do this? This is a few things. Collect relevant information related to the subject matter. Scrutinize information thoroughly and not to rush. Learn from past experiences and also current practices. If you are in the management, look into past management experiences and what are the new management approach that could be applied in your organizations. Then take a long-term view that will improve the quality of life and well-being of humankind or the Ummah and of course the universe. And in all our decision making, we have to incorporate all the Islamic values, all the Islamic principles, values in all our decision making. For example, like the Japanese trying to reduce wastage. Actually, we Muslims should be leading the concept, reduce waste, because we Muslims are not allowed to be wasteful. Inna Allah la yuhibbul musrifun. I mean, Allah don't like those who are wasteful. I mean, those who are excessive. Okay, I think we have already concluded, and that's all, I suppose. All right, done. Okay, brothers and sisters, I'm done. Any opinions if you had done a lot of research on this one? I give you about a few minutes. No comment. If no issue, can I conclude the class? Brothers, sisters, since today holiday, you want to do something?
Sir.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm waiting for your...
So I just received news that the mother of my friends.
What
Sir?
I don't get you.
I just received news from the group that the mother of my friends
Oh.
passed away.
Whose mother?
So maybe we should read Al-Fatihah.
Yeah, whose mother first? I want to know.
Erna Natasha.
Oh,
I don't
Rena
think
Natasha.
she's in here.
Oh, okay. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. Okay, we recite Fatiha. I mean, we try to contribute the reward for her mother. Al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim. Ar-Rahmanirrahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Okay, thank you, Brother Husaini, for alerting us. When was it, brother? When was her mother passed away?
About 3 a.m. just p.m. just now.
Oh, just only.
Yes.
Okay. Now can I conclude the class?
Yes.
Okay, we conclude the class with the recitation of Suratul As. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal ans innal insana la yafuz illa allazina amanu wa amilus salihati wa tawassaw bis sabr. Thank you very much, brothers and sisters. See you next class on Monday. So next class will be review. We have 4 classes left, and I will use that for your revisions. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, welcome. I end now.